War touched every corner of daily life. Streets went dark at night, food was rationed, hospital wards overflowed, and telegrams carried the kind of news no family wanted to read. In this heavy atmosphere, people adjusted to shortages and learned to live with lowered hopes. Words about democracy and sacrifice mattered less than what people could see with their own eyes. It was into this world that thousands of German prisoners of war arrived in the United States. Transported across the Atlantic, they came with their own doubts. On the journey, many laughed at the American slogans of democracy, equality, and freedom painted on walls. To them, these promises felt no different from propaganda they had known back home. Their first chance to test these ideas came quickly. Marched into a camp and guided toward the mess hall, they noticed an American flag flying proudly above the door. But once inside, the room told a different story. Signs split the floor into two lines, whites only on one side, others on the other. Guards kept order, cooks kept serving, and no one questioned the system. The silence explained more than any speech could. For the prisoners, this was not a small detail. Military life did not run on accident. Orders were written, posted, and enforced. Dining halls did not divide themselves. So, if men wearing the same uniform and saluting the same flag were separated by race, what did that say about the wider nation? The contradiction was impossible to ignore, and it fueled suspicion that American ideals might be more fragile than advertised. Daily life in captivity followed a strict rhythm shaped by the Geneva Convention. Ration cards, roll calls, and work assignments created a predictable order. The rules promised food, shelter, medical care, mail, and religious services. A prisoner's day was mapped out from revel to lights out, with paperwork and fences keeping the system in place. Yet reality often drifted from the law. Censors decided which words survived in letters home. Nurses triaged according to shortages, not fairness. Guards followed posted orders without question. Local commanders shaped routines in ways never written in Geneva's articles. And quietly, social divisions like the mess hall lines stood beside international law without ever being named in it. The prisoners came expecting propaganda, and America itself offered evidence and contradictions that raised sharper questions than the war itself. Every morning began the same way. Orders were read out loud, repeated again before meals, and then passed down through the ranks. Guards followed the charts. Cooks served by the roster. Clerks ticked names off the list. Junior officers kept the system moving, even when the rules pressed against their own judgment. In such a system, the difference between discipline and dignity blurred. Procedure demanded obedience first and reflection later. The cost could be seen in small, human moments. A soldier's clenched jaw as he enforced a rule he didn't write. Another stepping into the correct line with stiff posture, or a room falling silent because a posted sign had already given the answer. The prisoners noticed. To them, it became clear. Policies could keep order, yet slowly drain confidence. And one troubling question lingered. If the rules looked so strong on paper, why did morale feel so weak in practice? Postcards from camp were short, just dates, weather, and routine. But when one prisoner added a simple note about 2 lines in the mess hall, the words came back crossed out in black. That single stroke revealed more than any lecture. If a harmless phrase was silenced, what other truths would never reach home? Then came the classroom. In a converted barrack, an instructor told them questions were welcome. At first, no one believed it, but when a soldier asked a bold question, the instructor calmly answered with facts and sources. The prisoner noted the difference between repeating rules and questioning them. It sparked a thought. If inquiry was allowed here, what should his first real question be? On the parade ground, another lesson appeared. A black NCO stood tall, boots shining, saluting with quiet dignity. The scene did not erase the contradiction of divided lines, but it refused the stereotype of weakness. Dignity, even inside unfair rules, still looked like dignity. Finally, on farm work detail came the most human moment. A farmer wiped his hands, pulled out a chair, and shared bread and coffee. No orders, no speeches, just hospitality. It left the prisoner with a puzzle. Why did simple kindness feel easier outside the wire than inside it? Morning showed one America. 2 lines under one flag, divided in silence. Afternoon showed another. One table, one chair, simple bread shared under a bare bulb. The prisoner held both truths side by side. Was the lie in the propaganda he carried, or in the promise he now saw up close? That night, his notebook changed. No sarcasm, just facts. Times, places, details another man could check. A small shift on paper, but a larger change in posture. History would move slowly. In 1948, desegregation came by directive. Uniforms unchanged but orders rewritten. His notes would matter, showing what it felt like before the paper moved. And the legacy lived on. 2 Qs in a mess hall, a black line on a postcard, a steady NCO, a chair pulled out on a farm. Small scenes carrying big truths. One flag, one question. When will the words on the wall match the lines on the floor?